creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. So on this art journal page, I just decided to just build up colors and patterns on this page. I've seen where people will do different colors and patterns on a page, and then make draw like some kind of a face on the page, or turn it into some kind of a journal page. So I like that idea, and I thought that that's what I would do. So I was just going through my Dylusions and Adirondack sprays and stencils, and just having fun adding different colors and patterns to this particular art journal page. And I'm spraying through the stencils as you saw me there, and then flipping them over, and then using the ink on the stencil to add the reverse, so that I could get like more of the differences in the patterns and the colors on the page. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about what I want to add to this page. Do I want to add a face to this page, or do I want to do an animal, or I don't know, do something else, and how am I going to add it, to the page? Am I going to draw it on the page, or am I going to, use some kind of a mask on the page? All of these things I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I decided to take out my stamps and put some stamping on the page, but couldn't really see the stamps very well. They didn't really show up as well as I had thought they would, because the colors that I put on here were already so bright and vibrant, that it kind of got the stamping kind of got lost in all of the color and the patterns. Although this little red round stamp did end up showing up pretty good. So after I got all of the color and the patterns on the page, I felt like that I needed to, here I guess I decided to take my Ranger distressing ink pads and different stencils, and just adding some more pattern and color over top, just so I get some layers on this page. But after I get all of this down, I felt like I needed to somehow like either seal the page or kind of incorporate all of this together. But all of these products that I'm using on this page will reactivate if they were to get wet. The sprays are water-based, and they will reactivate, and so will the Ranger distressing ink pads that I'm using here through these stencils. The stamping wouldn't, because it stays on ink, but definitely all of these colors would reactivate. But I felt like that somehow all of this needed to be incorporated and need to be sealed, so that whatever I did on top of it, then it wouldn't cause all of this to smear. So after I get done putting all of this on the page, and to a point where I was happy with it, and here I'm adding, I decided after all that color that it could use some black on this page. So that's what I decided to pull out the black ink pad and put some numbers. And I do believe there's a letter or a stencil that I use. It has some words on it that that I also used with the black ink to get some of that on the page. And again, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about, what am I going to add to this page? How am I going to add it? I wasn't really even sure. So I basically just covered the whole page. But then, of course, by the time I ended up completing this page, there's probably a lot of this I really could have done without because most of it gets covered up anyway. But that's okay. I mean, that's part of, art journaling is just having fun, and just doing, whatever it is that makes you happy. And it was just, it was making me happy just, playing around, adding all of these colors and patterns and, things to the page. As a matter of fact, it gets to the point, where you're almost like, I don't want to do anything more. I like it just like this, and, wanting to call it done. And it's like, no. I mean, you could leave it like that, I suppose, but it's not quite done until, you do something. At least to me, it's not done until you put something on the page, something more than just colors and patterns. But the colors and patterns do make me happy. So I just edged it out in black. And then here's where I decided to take some white gesso and water it down, and then just very quickly brushed over the whole page. And as you see, it did smear some of it, but it wasn't too bad. And I tried not to go over the same area a second time. I just tried to quickly brush over the areas once to just kind of seal it in. And here I decided to go back on top and add some more stamping to the page with the Staz-on ink, just because it seemed like that, the stamp images or the stamping that I put on here earlier was kind of lost, and I thought maybe now I'd be able to do some stamping and it would, show up a little better, which it did. The stamping did seem to show up better after I did this. And here I guess I'm adding a little bit more, trying to get some of these words added back onto the page because those kind of got lost with the black ink. So some of this I guess I could have skipped over or cut out, the middle parts or whatever to get to the finished page. But yeah, so I was trying to add a little bit more on top after I added the white gesso. So here I decided I was going to do an animal, and I found this picture of this wolf with her two pups that I thought would be nice on this page, and I'm just quickly sketching it out on this art journal page with a Stabilo pencil. Don't know if that was the best thing to use. I mean, I could have used just a regular number 2 pencil or a China marker, but I didn't want to do a China marker because that would be kind of more permanent, whereas if I used the Stabilo, I felt like it was water soluble, and I could have tried to use the water to remove it and or clean it up or whatever. So, and it being water soluble, whenever I go over this with some other kind of medium, then it would just kind of blend in with whatever other medium that I decided to use on this page. But it just turned out that it actually worked beautifully. I traced and see here's where it's like, oh, he's that one is too low on the page, so it was easy for me to, as you saw there, spray some water on it and just wipe it off, and then raise it up higher where I thought it should be. And but this worked out beautifully because, as you saw there, it was really it's really easy to fix if I make a mistake or did something like I did there that I wasn't too happy with. But also when I did take a wet paintbrush to activate the pencil, it just made it really nice for me to be able to trace around the wolves and to use some of that to do the shading. And so I really didn't use anything else much else, I should say, with creating or drawing these wolves on this page. So here I'm just going over the areas that I wanted to add more shading to, and just adding a little bit more of the pencil so that when I come in with the paintbrush, I get a nice, dark, as you see there, shadow or dark area. And so I'm going around the whole image that I just drew and tracing it out with the wet paintbrush, and using, like I said, some of that to do the shading and whatnot with it. I wanted on this particular drawing and these animals, and it actually turned out really well. I was really happy with the page when I was done. I was happy with the drawing of the wolves when I was done with them. And as I'm going through doing these, I'm thinking about, well, when I get done with this, what am I going to put on this page? Am I going to go through my stash and get a quote to put on the page, or am I going to write something on the page? Am I going to, what am I going to do, and what am I going to say, with this page? So that's one of the things that, I'm thinking about as I'm going through, doing the shading and the drawing of the wolves on this page, and deciding, do I, want to just leave the background like it is, or do I want to fill it in, with black paint or something to that effect. But anyway, so I'm thinking about all of these things as I'm creating, this drawing of the wolves, and trying to decide, how I want to finish the page. And like I said, I really like the way that the wolves turned out, and I really like the way that, the Stabilo pencil, as you can see here, I'm just using it and using the wet paintbrush to pick up more off of the pencil itself where I needed more black. Just did a beautiful job with, being able to do what I was wanting to do, on this page with this drawing and these little, these little wolf pups and her mom. So I was pretty happy with it. And this is another part. I guess I sped it up, 400 times, which is quite a bit. I guess I could have jumped through it more quickly and cut some of the middle part out, but I know that I enjoy watching, other people draw and how they do their shading and their drawing, and, how they, what they're doing and their techniques or whatever. So I thought I would leave it in. If anybody wants to, watch the process, great. If you don't and want to skip ahead, that is perfectly okay too. That's one thing I like about, the YouTube videos, is it does make it easy where, you can skip ahead if, you're watching a video and it seems like it's just taking, a lot of time, or isn't going as fast as you like it to. And boy, I wish I could, really draw and, create this quickly, but, as most creatives know, it takes time. And I don't recall how much time it took me to do this, but yeah, I was pretty happy, when I was done with it, and too, it seems like that, you kind of get in a zone, and when you're creating, and you lose track of time anyway. And so yeah, it's nice. So I decided to, it's definitely nice when you have the time to spend. So I decided to pull out the Posca white pen to try to add some highlights. Putting it straight on, that was like just too bright. So I was using just a dry paintbrush to, go over it to spread it out a little bit and to, you know, lighten it up so it wasn't so bright. Although there was some areas that I would have, you know, liked it to be a little brighter, and I wasn't able to get it as bright as I wanted it to, like around the muzzle of the mom there, right there in that area. I was trying to get it brighter, and it just wasn't really working. But you know, in the end, I just got to a point where I was like, you know what, it's fine. You know, I would have liked it to have been a little bit brighter, but it was fine the way it was. So I just went through and just wherever I thought there'd need to be some highlighting, you know, I just used the white paint pen for that. And again, the brush just to kind of spread it out and blend it in and not, you know, not make it so bright so it would blend in better. But yeah, when I got towards, you know, the end here where I was like, you know, what am I going to say? How am I going to, you know, am I going to just write it on the page or do something else? I got a really good idea. I thought, you know, well, first of all, I thought, well, the only thing I could think of is believe in miracles. And then I thought, you know, oh, I could like maybe, because I'd like for the background to show through the letters. So I thought, ooh, I could put some stickers on the page and then paint over the stickers and then peel the stickers up, and then you would see the background through the page. So that's where I grabbed these old stickers. Gosh, I've had these forever. And decided to put those on the page and paint over them and then peel them up so that you could see the background through the letters. And so, like I said, I decided to put, you know, on this page, believe in miracles. And here, and some of the letters, like the B, the center of the B wasn't cut out or whatever, so I had to manually cut that out. But, you know, that was fine. And I didn't have enough room to put believe in miracles. So I thought, well, I'll put believe miracles, and then I will manually write in the in between the two words, and that way I could fit all of it on the page. Although here at this point I was like, wait a minute, that does not quite look right. What's going on here? So I had to back it up. It's like, okay, spell check. That's the one thing about art, you know, there's no spell check. You just got to check your own spelling. So I had to back it up and get an A, replace the I with an A, and of course cut out the center of the A because these stickers did not have the centers cut out of them. And then finish writing the word miracles on the page. And I decided to use smaller letters for miracles because I didn't think that if I did all caps like I did with the believe, I wasn't sure that they would fit, that it would the whole word would fit on the page. So then I grabbed my black gesso so that I could paint over these stickers and be able to, you know, get the effect that I was hoping for. And I just put some wax paper underneath my art journal pages to protect the art journal pages that are, you know, before it and then after it, so I don't get black gesso all over everything. And just decided that, well, I guess I'll just trace around, you know, the animals, you know, the picture that I put on the page. So here I did skip through that part so that you didn't have to sit through all of that, and just, you know, painted around them completely. And then did a little bit of a border around where the black gesso wasn't, you know, filled in. And as you can see here, I mean, you know, black gesso dried pretty quickly, so you can see it already is dried in that upper right hand corner where I put the stickers. And then here I'm, going back through peeling the stickers off the page, and I didn't want, I skipped through that so you didn't have to sit through that whole thing. And then I used the black gesso to clean up any edges that were kind of rough. And then I grabbed my white Posca pen again, got the black gesso dried completely, and grabbed my white Posca pen again and kind of did some white around the letters, and I wrote the IN in the middle, and here I'm going around the letters. And then I put a border around the page. So that's pretty much this art journal page for today. I hope you liked the video and the art journal page, and that this gives you some inspiration for your own art journal pages. If you like this video, you can hit the like button, or you can hit the subscribe button, or if you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. You could leave a comment and I definitely will respond. I really, like I said, like the way that this art journal page turned out. It actually turned out really, really, nice. I mean, I was pleased with it when I was done. And here I'm just doing dashes for a border, a quick border around the page. I just felt like it needed something, some kind of a border around it. And to bring it all together, I guess you could say. So that's pretty much the journal page for today. Thank you for stopping by and watching, and we'll talk to you guys again later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.